Look at your accounts. You have a solid job, maybe even two. You are bringing in anywhere from $65,000 to $95,000 a year. You pack your lunch 3 days a week. You avoid the high-end delivery apps. You make the responsible choices you were told would lead to stability. Yet every single month, around the 20th, you find yourself staring at a double-digit bank balance, wondering where the money went. This recurring anxiety stems from a financial system engineered to keep workers exactly where they are. Standard financial advice suggests the fix is a new budgeting app or cutting out your morning coffee. When everyday costs escalate at the macro level, the math breaks. You cannot fix a structural economic deficit by tracking small daily purchases. Fighting a systemic erosion of your purchasing power by skipping a $4 latte is an arithmetic impossibility. To see why, we need to audit a standard Canadian paycheck. Take an $80,000 salary in Ontario. After federal and provincial taxes, CPP contributions, and EI premiums, your actual take-home pay is roughly $4,900 a month. Now look at shelter. A standard one-bedroom apartment near a transit line in Toronto or Vancouver easily costs $2,500 a month. As this graphic shows, over 50% of your net income is erased just to maintain a roof over your head. This happens before you buy groceries or pay for transit. Escaping the rental cycle is even more difficult. The average home price in the Greater Toronto Area hovers around $1.1 million, requiring a $220,000 down payment. Saving a heroic $1,000 every single month would still require 18 straight years just to reach that entry point. In Tier 1 Canadian cities, modern homeownership functions more like a part-time job you work exclusively to service a bank's mortgage. Once housing consumes the bulk of your ledger, variable costs like groceries become impossible to manage. Looking at the Canadian grocery market, 5 major companies control the supply. With scarce competition, grocery bills rise independently of consumer choice. Compare two metrics. Grocery inflation hit 11.4%, while average wage growth sat flat around 3%. When corporate monopolies raise survival prices faster than your employer raises your pay, you are being outpaced by arithmetic. Citizens are financing basic survival through debt, covering the gap left by an empty ledger. A recent MNP Consumer Debt Index found that 48% of Canadians are within $200 of missing their monthly financial obligations. You finance past survival on a credit card, using future income. The bank charges 19.99% interest to run backwards on that treadmill. Compounding this is the cultural pressure in cities like Vancouver and Toronto. There is a quiet, immense drive to maintain the appearance of middle-class success. Many lease cars they cannot afford, projecting a specific image because they are too embarrassed to admit the math no longer works. Navigating this requires a total pivot from micro-optimizing small daily expenses. Cutting a $4 coffee saves you $1,400 a year, but securing a $10,000 raise or a consistent freelance client creates a much larger safety net. Focus your energy on the income side of the ledger. Audit your accounts for emotional spending, the unused subscriptions and impulse buys that happen when work stress hits, rather than cutting basic survival necessities. Then use specific tools like the First Home Savings Account. As this diagram shows, it allows you to contribute up to $8,000 a year tax-deductible and withdraw it tax-free for your first property. Overcoming systemic financial barriers requires playing a mathematically strategic game. The single most impactful shift is removing the secrecy surrounding personal debt. Talk to your peers about numbers. Understanding the mechanics of stagnant wages and corporate consolidation frees you from blaming yourself for a perceived lack of discipline. Acknowledging that the playing field is structurally tilted is the necessary first step to building true financial stability in Canada today.